Hello and welcome. My name is Christina from Empowered Creator. I'm a mindset and conscious manifesting teacher and coach, and this is my YouTube channel. Here I talk about all things law of assumption, mindset, conscious manifesting, the quantum universe, and a lot more. And my goal is to simplify everything without the fluff. So if you guys like this content and you would like to see more of it, I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel, comment on this video, like it, share it, and just stick around. Also, if you need any help with your specific situation, I offer one-on-one coaching, email coaching, small group coaching, as well as custom subliminals for whatever needs you may have. So if you're interested in any of these services, the links are below in the description box. Click on them and they're going to take you to my website. With all that being said, let's dive into today's video. In today's video, we're going to discuss something that I get asked a lot, and I get it's also a very common question in the manifesting community. I've been manifesting my specific person for a long time and I'm not seeing any breakthrough, I'm not seeing any results, I'm not seeing any movement. So if this is your situation with your specific person manifestation, I want you to check this one thing that is very, very important and very crucial and could actually make a huge difference. So this is what I'll be discussing in today's video. Stay tuned. So if you've been manifesting your specific person for a long time, especially if it's been several months, first of all, I don't want you to necessarily assume that you're doing something wrong. Sometimes there are certain bridges that need to form in the 3D, and that's why a manifestation may take longer. However, the most common reason why manifestation might take longer is because it's not actually feeling natural within us. We're not believing that it's possible for us. We're not believing that it will happen. We keep seeing obstacles. We keep seeing the circumstances. We keep seeing the 3D, and that's why it's not happening. So if you're in a situation where you've been manifesting your specific person for a long time and you're not seeing much movement or any movement, you're not seeing any breakthroughs, I want you to check this one thing. So if this is your case, if you're finding yourself in this situation, I want you to take an honest look at your assumptions, at your feelings, at your expectations, at your beliefs. And I want you to check if those assumptions, those beliefs, those expectations you have of yourself, of your specific person, of the relationship, are actually formed through using your conservative imagination or if they're formed through your creative imagination. And I'm going to explain what that is in a moment. So Neville Goddard himself said that there are two ways in which you can use your imagination, the conservative way and the creative way. The conservative way is when you base your assumptions off of memories. What are your memories with your specific person? What are your memories of this relationship? What are the memories of how they've treated you? And so you form your expectations about the present and the future based on these memories. So maybe they didn't treat you well at one point, and then now you have made an assumption that this is how they're going to continue to show up. They're going to not treat you nicely, they're not going to respect you, they're not going to show up the way you want them to show up. And so you continue to use your memories, you continue to use the past as your reference to assume and expect what is going to happen in the present and in the future of this relationship. To assume and expect how this person is going to continue to show up, how this person is going to continue to treat you, and how the relationship is going to continue. This also applies to how you see yourself in the relationship and how you see the relationship itself. So if you're basing your assumptions, your beliefs, your expectations, your feelings, your state, your energy off of what has happened in the past, or even off of current circumstances, off of what the 3D is currently showing, then what you're doing is you're using your memories to form conclusions and to form assumptions and expectations of how things are going to be. And that is using your imagination in a conservative way. Essentially, you're not changing anything. You're just taking the past, you're taking your memories, you're taking what you know already, what you've already experienced, and you're applying it into the present, you're applying it into the future, and that's what you keep expecting. So then, if you're using your imagination in that way, how can you expect a change? If you keep thinking the same things, if you keep assuming the same assumptions, if you keep expecting the same things, how is anything going to change? How are you going to see a breakthrough? So if you're continuing to expect your specific person to show up the same way they showed up in the past, if you're expecting them to treat you the same way they treated you in the past, then obviously that is your answer why nothing is changing. If deep down this is what you're expecting, this is what you're assuming, this is what you're believing as possible, this is what you are thinking, and this is where you're putting your energy and your attention on, then nothing is going to change. because you are focusing your imagination on the wrong things, or I should say on the unwanted things, the things that you don't want to keep experiencing, and yet this is what you keep expecting, this is what you keep focusing on, this is what you keep putting attention on, and of course the world that always says yes is going to show you more of that. What you should be doing instead as a conscious creator, as a conscious manifestor, is that you should be using your creative imagination. That means you shut the door at what has happened in the past. You shut the door at the 3D, you shut the door at current circumstances, and instead you dwell in your imagination in the reality that you want. You start practicing that new reality, you start practicing that new story in whichever way you want, whether it's through affirmations, through inner conversations, through visualizing, through scripting, meditating, self-talk, whatever it might be, whatever comes most naturally to you. You practice that new story over and over and over and over again, and your goal is to convince yourself that the new version of reality, the new version of your relationship, the new version of your specific person that you're concentrating on is actually possible and it's going to happen. So you actually stop expecting that specific person to continue to show up the way they did in the past. Because if you continue to expect them to show up the exact same way as they showed up in the past, that's how they're going to continue to show up. There's no other way. So you need to start expecting them to show up differently. You need to, in a way, shut the door to your memories of that old version, not forget about them, but just kind of disregard them, because you know that there are multiple versions of reality. You know you can choose the version of reality that you want. So you are going to form a different version in your imagination, a different version of reality, a different version of that person, different version of yourself, different version of the relationship, and dwell on that, and focus on that, and pay attention to that. And by doing that and practicing that over and over and over again, your goal is that over time, over several days or maybe a few weeks, in some cases it might take a few months even if you have a lot of resistance, but over time you should start feeling differently about the whole situation. You won't feel so triggered anymore from old memories. You will no longer expect your specific person to actually show up the way they showed up in the past. You will no longer expect the relationship to be the same way that it was in the past. You will not expect your SP to treat you or to talk to you or to behave in the same way that they did in the past. You actually expect them to show up as their new version. That's why I say in a lot of my specific person videos, you need to trust them to be that new version. This is exactly what you want. This is exactly what you're creating here. If you keep expecting the same things deep down, if you keep expecting the same treatment, if you keep expecting them to show up as the same person, that's what you're going to get. So what you're doing by practicing your imaginal acts, by practicing your new story in your imagination and saturating yourself with that and getting yourself in a new state, is that you're actually starting to expect something different. You start to see your specific person as a different person. You start to expect them to show up differently. You start to expect yourself to show up differently. You start expecting the relationship to be different this time because you have changed. So when you change, the world around you changes as well. And this is how you use your creative imagination to create a new version of reality, a new version of your SP, a new version of your relationship, the way that you actually want it. But as you see, the secret is in how you're using your imagination. Are you stuck in the past? Are you stuck in the old story? Are you stuck in the old ways? Are you stuck in the old expectations? Well, then there's no surprise you're not getting any breakthroughs and you're not getting any movement. Are you using it in creative ways? I guarantee you, if you start using your imagination in creative ways, in ways that shut out the past, shut out the old story, shut out the current 3D and the current circumstances, there is no way, if you start convincing yourself by practicing that new story within you, by practicing that new version of reality, there is absolutely no way that you're not going to see a breakthrough, that you're not going to see results. Because you are changing yourself, you're shifting your own inner state. And therefore, the world has to reflect it. And that includes your specific person. That includes how they show up for you. That includes how they treat you. That includes how they behave. That includes how they see the relationship with you. So if you've been manifesting your SP for a long time and not seeing any breakthrough, not seeing any results, ask yourself, am I actually using my imagination the conservative way or the creative way? If the answer is that you're using your imagination in the conservative way, then that's your answer. You know you have to shift to a creative way of viewing reality, a creative way of looking at things, and a creative way of expecting how things are going to show up, how things are going to unfold from now on. With all that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I intend that this has helped. As always, I very much appreciate you guys being on this channel, watching this content. I love making this content for you. And as always, I look forward to seeing you all at the next video. Until then, take care and bye-bye.